Good morning. Craig Howard here. I read a story this morning about a situation that happened in China back in the late 60s. China started this campaign, and they thought it was really going to help the situation. They started a campaign, they called it the Four Pests campaign. And it was an effort to eliminate disease-carrying rats and fleas and mosquitoes and sparrows. The first three, they thought, this is going to take care of, if we get rid of the rats, they carry all sorts of disease. If we get rid of the malaria-carrying mosquitoes, we can wipe out malaria. And it was, I guess, I don't know if it was flies or flea. Anyhow, each one of them was designed to get rid. And the sparrows ate fruits and grains that they were trying to harvest and did a lot of damage to crops. And so they started this campaign, and they enlisted the help of the general public and told them to kill every sparrow they could see. And kids went crazy. I mean, slingshots and chasing birds from tree to tree until they were so exhausted they fell out, and just literally pushed the sparrow population in China to the brink of extermination. But what they didn't realize was that the sparrows ate a certain grasshopper. It was a short-horned grasshopper that they commonly called locust. And with the sparrows gone, the grasshopper population just exploded. And literally a plague episode of grasshoppers, of locusts, came across and just destroyed the crops that year all across China. I mean, there were just grasshoppers everywhere, locusts everywhere, and it was a plague that threw the country into basically into starvation mode. They were in a famine. All sorts of people died. I was trying to remember. It was tens of millions of people died as a result of this, because there wasn't enough food to feed them. And here, what they thought when they thought they were getting rid of a pest, what they really did was hurt themselves and got rid of something that was really needed. It was something that was necessary in their lives. I think sometimes we get caught in that same sort of thing. We have some situation in our lives that we think is difficult, we think is hard for us to go through, and we wish there was something we could do to alleviate this problem, only to find out that if we alleviate that problem, it creates a bigger problem for us. Many times God allows us to go through difficulties and problems because we need to. We need to learn something from that. We need to be prepared by something about something with that. Paul had the same sort of thing over in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Paul tells us he had what he called a thorn in the flesh. He doesn't tell us what it was. We're not sure whether it was a breathing problem, whether it was a skin problem, whether it was a problem with his ability to walk, or we just don't know. I've heard all sorts of speculation as to what people thought it was, but the truth is the Bible is silent on it, and so we should be silent also. But we know it was an ailment of some sort. It was something that caused him discomfort. It was something that he wished would be gone. And it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7, he said, "Lest I should be exalted above measure by the abundance of the revelations, a thorn in the flesh was given to me." Something you don't really usually think of as being a blessing, a difficulty, an illness, or something like that. But a thorn in the flesh was given to me, a messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. He says, without this, I would just begin to think of myself as more and more and more than I am, because I've had all these incredible accomplishments. So verse 80 says, "Concerning this thing, I pleaded with the Lord 3 times that it might depart from me. And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." Therefore, he changed his tune. Instead of complaining about this, instead of saying, "Why do I have to put up with this?" he says, Therefore, most gladly I will rejoice in my infirmities." I'm not sure I've got to that point yet, but this is where Paul got to. He said, "I will rejoice in my infirmities," or I would rather boast in my infirmity, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, and this one, I don't know that I'm here yet, but this is the goal, okay? This is what I'm learning this morning. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in need, in persecutions. I can't imagine rejoicing in persecution. In distress for Christ's sake. But here's why. He said, for when I am weak, then I am strong. This roof has been a trial for me. It has taken a lot longer than expected. Yes, I'm still working on it. But there have been other trials that have come in my life. There's trials that I go through, that everybody goes through, that are associated with aging. I'm having a real problem with my knees right now, and not happy about it. But it's teaching me. It's teaching me more and more that I can rely less and less on my own abilities, and that I have to rely on Christ to work through me and to give me strength and to give me patience, and to, when I'm not feeling good because my knees hurt and I'm trying to do things, to not let my attitude get out of whack, but to find strength in God, to realize I have so many other blessings going on in my life that I shouldn't complain about a couple of old knees that don't feel that good. It's about seeing the bigger picture. China didn't see the bigger picture. I'm sure there was probably some scientist that told the leaders, getting rid of the sparrows is not a good idea. They have a purpose. But they didn't listen. Sometimes getting rid of our infirmities or our difficulties, and I'm not saying you should stay sick, don't get me wrong, if you have an opportunity to get well, but I'm saying just sitting around and complaining and worrying and fretting and griping about our infirmities or our difficulties in our life, not just infirmities, but the difficulties. I mean, Paul listed persecutions and all sorts of other things. Just complaining about those things in our life instead of seeing how God may be using those things to shape us into something that we need to be, it doesn't accomplish much to just sit around and gripe about it. It does accomplish amazing things to say, God, what are you trying to teach me in this? So as you go through whatever difficulties you may have to face today, I hope you'll keep this in mind and realize that God is probably trying to bring about some lesson here that you probably need to learn, or that somebody needs to learn as they observe your life. Well, I believe my time's about up. Oh my goodness, it's long past due. I'm sorry I got so long-winded this morning. You have a great day. I will see you, Lord willing, tomorrow. God bless.